world, we can observe and be touched by acts of kindness. People from all walks of life, faiths, and cultures extend themselves beyond the call of duty to help others unconditionally. Through their noble deeds, humanity as a whole is elevated. To commend virtuous actions and encourage more people to be inspired by their examples, Supreme Master Ching Hai has lovingly created a series of awards, including the Shining World Leadership Award, Shining World Compassion Award, Shining World Hero and Heroine Awards, Shining World Honesty Award, Shining World Protection Award, Shining World Intelligence Award, and Shining World Inventor Award to recognize some of the most exemplary, generous, caring, and courageous people who walk amongst us. Director General Dr. Margaret Chan of the World Health Organization, or WHO, recently spoke at the International WHO meeting in Tokyo, Japan, addressing the present global danger of the swine flu virus. However, it is not only swine flu that is affecting the world's population. Avian flu, E. coli, blue tongue disease, and malaria are but a few of the other diseases which are putting the lives of global citizens at risk. With the hazards of many of these diseases exacerbated by climate change, the courage in presenting the truth of our planet's precarious situation is much needed by experts, the media, and government leaders. One such scientist is Dr. Jonathan Patz, world-famous scholar and researcher on the environmental and health effects of climate change. Dr. Patz holds numerous academic posts and is involved in several U.S. and international organizations. As Professor of Environmental Studies and Population Health Sciences at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Dr. Patz directs a university-wide initiative on global environmental health. He was also an adjunct associate professor in the Department of Environmental Health Sciences at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health and an affiliate scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research, or NCAR. Dr. Patz's additional professional activities include co-chairing the Health Expert Panel of the U.S. National Assessment on Climate Variability and Change and being a lead author of climate change reports for the United Nations World Bank Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, and World Health Organization, or WHO. He has written over 90 peer-reviewed scientific papers on the environmental and health effects of global warming.
Climatologists say global warming is not just, gradual increase in temperature. It's an increase in the frequency of extreme events, be it heat waves, be it floods, be it droughts. It's the increased frequency of extreme events, dengue fever, malaria, and other diseases, that we know that these diseases are climate sensitive, and when climate goes extreme, we see a response. We see, in many cases, an increase in disease.
From 1996 to 2000, Dr. Patz was principal researcher for the largest U.S. multi-institutional study on climate change health risks. He has briefed the U.S. Congress, the White House, and federal agency leaders on environmental health matters. His areas of research include the effects of climate change on air pollution, heat waves, and the relationship between deforestation and resurgent diseases in the Amazon.
Climate change is a much different type of health threat compared to what we're used to dealing with. We're used to finding vaccines and pharmaceuticals and find a cure for certain diseases. But when you disturb the Earth's climate and thereby affect habitat and ecosystems in which biological diseases may emerge, there can be some much broader impacts.
Dr. Patz is a member of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, which received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007, along with 45th U.S. Vice President Al Gore for their work on climate change. Dr. Patz convincingly points out the detrimental effects of meat production and consumption on the environment and one's health.
As far as environmental responsibility, I would say that livestock has been shown to be quite energy intensive, water intensive, and land intensive. Converting forests into pasture land, we've changed much of our landscape. In fact, agriculture alone has changed the landscape of the planet more than any other driver. So I would advocate getting off of the meat diet, that it really is not sustainable. And not only that, we know from the Western diet that too much meat is not good for you, and the issue of heart disease and cancer.
We'll be right back after these brief messages with the Shining World Hero Award presentation recognizing Dr. Jonathan Patz's exemplary work in sustainable public health. Please keep your dial tuned here to Supreme Master Television.
The way we're doing industrial agriculture and the overcrowding and the antibiotics that are put into the feed for growth stimulation, not to treat infections really. These are problems, and they present even new public health issues like antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
Thank you for joining us again for today's program featuring the Shining World Hero Award. Every day, the increasing seriousness and severity of climate change is reported in the news. Dr. Patz reveals several of these findings.
New research from the Arctic that is showing that the ice is melting faster than even the scientists had expected. They have models of forecasting how quickly the North Pole will melt. And apparently the latest findings are that the melting is faster than even their worst case scenario. Apparently we are tracking worse than worst case scenario from the United Nations IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We've got some best estimates of the worst case scenario, sort of business as usual, burning fossil fuels, driving a lot of cars, and eating a lot of meat, which of course, livestock are one cause of greenhouse gas emissions. So that's not good news, and that has people realizing that this really is something that needs to be taken seriously sooner than later.
Dr. Patz also discusses an important stride the United States government is taking towards protecting public health.
The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, ruled that CO2, which causes global warming, that CO2 is a hazard to human health, this finding of endangerment, which means that now the EPA must regulate CO2 like it regulates the other pollutants, like particulate air pollution, ozone, lead, these other pollutants that there are major laws to try to keep our air clean from these pollutants. Now, this greenhouse gas CO2 is on that list.
The implementation of policies to reduce global warming will naturally benefit the well-being of humans as well.
So if we are to reduce burning oil, or reduce deforestation, or reduce the meat in our diet to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, what are the co-benefits? For example, if we were to stop burning coal for electricity, that would reduce greenhouse gases, reduce the risk of climate change, but coal burning causes all the other nasty air pollutants that are harmful to breathe. So by burning less coal, for global warming, say, we also reduce local air pollution, which is really good for public health. If we have greener cities and we have less dependency on the automobile, we'd get more exercise. We'd have more livable, more walkable cities. The average American doesn't get enough exercise because we have this built environment around the car. So there's a great benefit from greener cities and personal fitness. Of course, with the meat diet, livestock are estimated to represent about 85% of the global warming emissions from agriculture. So there's a lot from livestock as far as warming the planet. if we were to reduce the amount of meat that we eat, then not only do you save the planet a little bit, but you also, we know about cholesterol, and too much red meat's not good for you. And so there's another co-benefit. These are just win-win situations.
For his noble work to protect public health and his insightful candor in support of the meatless solution to ease the effects of climate change, Supreme Master Ching Hai has honored scientist Dr. Jonathan Patz with the Shining World Hero Award, accompanied by a letter of appreciation.
Dear Dr. Patz, it is with great pleasure and admiration that we present to you the Shining World Hero Award. This award is presented in recognition of your outstanding efforts and enlightened leadership in creating a sustainable future through your exemplary vision for public health. As principal lead author for the IPCC reports, you have contributed to our world your wisdom, knowledge, and vision for a healthier, sustainable way of life on our precious planet. By encouraging people to shift toward a plant-based diet, you are helping to improve the health of humanity, as well as providing a logical solution for the continued well-being of Earth's ecosystem. You have informed countless people of the high costs of animal agriculture in terms of land and water resources and its negative impact on human health. For compassionately striving for global well-being, for your tireless efforts to affect climate change and ecological sustainability, and for being a dedicated and noble role model, we hereby applaud and celebrate the great deeds of Dr. Jonathan Patz, public health visionary extraordinaire. With great love, honor, and blessings, the Supreme Master Ching Hai.
That was very gracious. That was incredible.
And here is your award.
Wow. That's quite some very nice, wonderful words from the Supreme Master. And I really want to thank her and your network for allowing me to advocate science, because part of my job as a scientist is to not only conduct the science and try to make important findings for society, but to communicate them to people that can make a difference, who can make informed decisions about having a sustainable future. I really very much appreciate the ability to present science on your network.
Dr. Patz was also presented with gifts, including a hero jacket. As well as some books, such as Supreme Master Ching Hai's lecture compilation titled The Realization of Health, Returning to the Natural and Righteous Way of Living, and her #1 international best-selling books, The Dogs in My Life and The Noble Wilds.
This is just too nice. Thank you.
Dr. Patz expresses his thoughts on Supreme Master Ching Hai's work on environmental protection.
The emphasis on sustainability that she's doing and really communicates is so important. To be sustainable means to not overuse resources faster than they're regenerated. And so I take the lead from many people, and including the Supreme Master, who values sustainability, to my own work. And I work in public health. But I no longer say that I work in public health. I say that I work on sustainable public health. That is, health for today's generation, that's public health, but without compromising the opportunity for health of the next generation.
In closing, Dr. Patz shares his own vision for a more sustainable and healthy future.
I do remain optimistic that we can turn climate change around. However, we're really going to have to change our lifestyles in some ways. So I think that this confluence of recognizing the environmental threats, the global change, deforestation, climate change, these crashing fisheries, these types of global threats, the awareness is high, and our business as usual economics is right now at risk. It's a perfect time to be bold and make major steps, change the way we design cities, change the way we use resources, change our diet.
Dr. Jonathan Patz, we sincerely thank you for your dedicated work and vocal support to protect the well-being of the public and planet. Our best wishes for God's abundant blessings and love as you continue with your life-saving efforts from the greatness of your beautiful heart. Gracious viewers, we enjoyed your company on today's program. Up next is Words of Wisdom after Noteworthy News here on Supreme Master Television. May the health of all Earth's co-inhabitants prevail through our compassionate and responsible stewardship of the planet.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/EE.